Hey everyone, welcome back. Today was the first day of the Go Battle Weekend, a very special event where you can do 100 battles each day this weekend. It's a very fun time, although it takes a long time to do. But today I decided to use Shadow Quagsire as one of the Pokemon on my team. Also paired it with my Galarian Moltres that we used the other day, and Shadow Drapion, which I think is one of the best save swaps, which is kind of funny because Shadow Quagsire last season, kind of a running joke. It was like the only Pokemon I ever used as a save swap. It is a very strong Pokemon here, even in this season, even after the Mudshot nerf. So let's take a look at the battles and see what Shadow Quagsire can do. Alright, let's start off Go Battle Weekend here. Get into the first game of the day here. We have the Ariados against the Galarian Moltres. You might expect the Flying type here to be very comfortable, a matchup that's just always going to be a win, but we're only doing resisted damage, or neutral damage rather, with our Sucker Punches. They're doing neutral damage with their Poison Stings and Lunges. It's only our Charge moves that actually have type effectiveness here, and it's a little bit annoying because they also catch our Brave Bird on their Toxapex. Luckily, this wasn't an Ancient Power bait by us. We did go for the big move, but we are going to come in Quagsire now, try to absorb the energy, and get a lot of energy for the backline. They will start throwing moves here, but Brine is a pretty weak move. It's not going to do that much damage, especially because we resist the poison jabs. It's not going to two-shot us, at least not anywhere near as soon as they want it to. This Stone Edge as well will be reached. I know that Ariados does have energy on it. I want to have energy for it when it comes back in. So we'll see what comes in here. Watch that top right corner. See what typing is going to come in here. And we are going to see that it is a Drifblim that comes in. That is not an Ariados. So we can go for the Stone Edge, try to get a one-shot. And now we know that we can swap back in Moltres here. Don't give them the farm down, because Drifblim up energy could be a little bit scary. But now that I've drained energy here, I've drained energy on that Drifblim as well. We can go with our Drapion, that is, come in and try to sweep out this endgame. Once again, we can kind of just neutralize this Ariados with our Shadow Quagsire, go for these Aqua Tails, get the Mudshot damage as well, and then once this Ariados is out of the way, our Drapion will be able to go for the crunches against that Drifblim, knock them out, and we should have this one. So Aqua Tail will come through, and they do end up letting that move go. Do I get a Stone Edge here? I do at the last second, but unfortunately for me, I was a little bit unsure if I got the move. I guess I went for the Aqua Tail here. I think we still win no matter what. They do shield that up, so that's even better for us right there. So we are able to land this Crunch in just a second. They'll get their debuff off, but even debuffed Crunch is going to do a lot of damage, put them either into fast move farm down range, or into a range where just reaching another Aqua Tail will knock them out. We have another shield here. I think at this point, Drapion can close out this match, take game number 1, and give us our first win of the Go Battle Weekend with this Poison Sting down against the Drifblim. Good games to our opponent. Our next matchup here, we have the Gastrodon lead into our Galarian Moltres. This is a fantastic matchup. I have seen a couple of these Gastrodons running Water Pulse, which is a little bit better coverage, I guess, against the Galarian Moltres. But it's not necessarily going to flip that matchup. It's just a little bit more awkward if they get a lot of farm later on. And we see that they save swap a Mandibuzz. We don't really have, like, I'd say a hard answer to Mandy. We have a soft answer here with Drapion. We kind of tripped it down with Sucker Punches. We have energy on Moltres, and we also are going to be able to throw these neutral Aqua Tails, but we don't have Sludge Bomb on this Drapion, which would do a lot more neutral damage. It would be Stab as well. So these Aqua Tails, these Poison Stings, they'll add up, but these Air Releases from the Mandibuzz also are going to start adding up here. I'm going to try to throw my moves right when I can here. I have 2 more Aqua Tails loaded. Hopefully they're enough to knock out this Mandibuzz, but even if they're not, I'm pretty happy with how much I've tripped this thing down, because at this point, I know that Gastrodon is not going to be on our Drapion, and I can guarantee that this Mandibuzz is not going to be on our Quagsire. Go for the CMP here. If they shield this, that's fine by me. I'll probably just come back and Moltres, farm them down. But if they no shield, then I guess I'll get a bit of farm on their Gastrodon here. But we get an Aqua Tail off, just to get a little bit more chip, which does help, because honestly, even though Galarian Moltres is a very good answer to Gastrodon, you generally have to throw a Brave Bird to get any sort of damage against it. So being able to chip it down a little bit here is going to be very helpful to make it not quite as difficult to take out. They are going to throw a move, just a Body Slam though, and we are going to overfarm as much as possible. We're basically at 100 energy, so I have to throw something. I know an Ancient Power doesn't knock out. I know a Brave Bird will knock out, but it will debuff our defense stats, so we'll just have to see what's in the back, and in comes a Dugong. Our team does not have a solid Dugong answer, actually, but what we do have is a lot of neutral play into it. We have Ancient Power here, we have Stone Edge on our Quagsire. Drapion obviously has a lot of neutral pressure into it as well, so the way to take out these Dugongs is to neutral game them, right? We go for these Stone Edges, we went for the Ancient Power, got a shield with that with our Moltres, and now even though they are debuffing our attack stat, I know that I'm going to be able to clear our attack debuff with our Moltres that we saved at 1 HP in the back. Stone Edge will once again get shielded, and that's honestly what I want to see here. If I get that Stone Edge shielded, I know that even though I'm already debuffed by one stage, I can clear my debuff, land an undebuffed Stone Edge later on this match, as long as I can get out of this Dugong matchup. I do go for the Aqua Tail here. We have a Stone Edge loaded as well. As long as I can swap right now, I can clear my debuff, go for the Stone Edge, and take the win this game by going for my Moltres, clear that debuff like I've been talking about. And now Quagsire always wins CMP here. We get the guaranteed win, knocking out this Dugong. Honestly, maybe I didn't even need to clear that debuff, but it's just safe, right, to do that, and to guarantee that this Dugong will easily get one-shot by that Stone Edge. And the next lead we have here is a Quagsire. That is unfortunately a very awkward lead matchup, because obviously they could have Stone Edge, they might have Sludge Bomb. We won't know until they throw a move. We're just going to throw the Brave Bird first, try to knock them out here. Obviously, well, this wouldn't knock them out, but it does a lot of damage, and we actually draw a shield from that. I make a catch. So even if this is a Stone Edge, it's not going to one-shot us, and it might even be a Sludge Bomb, which is a resisted move that we catch with Drapion, and that is such an awkward position for our opponent to be in, because now, obviously, they have no shield, well, they are down a shield, rather, with that Quagsire. They don't want to really stay in there, because Drapion, honestly, up shields is very strong into that Quagsire matchup, and now these Aqua Tails, once again, just spamming them out against these Mandibuzz. I don't know what it was about today, but a lot of Mandibuzz seem to be used, which was a little bit annoying, I guess, because Mandy is a little bit of a tricky Pokemon for our entire team. But we can go for the spamming out of these Aqua Tails here, trying to get as much damage as we can. They actually throw another move here right before we get the next one. So I know I have to come back in with our Moltres, try to go for the Ancient Powers, and hopefully overfarm as much as possible here to have energy against that Quagsire. The best thing about this, though, is we know that we did drain their energy from that Quagsire. They have a little bit left over, but we caught that Sludge Bomb, so if we overfarm a lot of energy here, we might be in a good enough position where our Moltres up a shield can still put in a lot of work this game. I'm expecting something like a Feraligatr in the back, because that's a pretty common duo with Quagsire with Mandibuzz. I tried to make a catch there. Unfortunately, though, the game did not let us catch that move. Sometimes one-turn lags happen that desync your ability to catch right when you want to, and that is exactly what happened there. Looks like we do get the Brave Bird off, though. Nonetheless, this is going to do a lot of damage. If they want to shield this, they can be my guest, but they do let it go, and in the back is going to be a bit of a tricky Pokemon. That is exactly what I thought it would be, though. The Shadow Feraligatr, I can no-shield this, I can get the Stone Edge, and then hopefully my Moltres as well will be able to get to an Ancient Power and knock out this Feraligatr. They will get a decent farm down here, so the lose condition this game is if they get enough energy to get to 2 Hydro Cannons before my Moltres can get to 1 Ancient Power. I'm thinking, though, I did overfarm quite a bit with our Moltres. We should have enough energy here to just reach the move, go for the Ancient Power, and then knock out this Feraligatr here. This is a non-stab Ancient Power, but I have a lot of attack on this Moltres. It's a Shadow Feraligatr. It's going to be enough. It's going to knock out the Shadow Gator, and we can take the win there. Alright, next matchup, we have the Galarian Moltres, once again into an Ariados in the lead. Alright, well, we've seen this matchup play out quite a few times here. It is a very neutral matchup. They're going to go for debuffing moves, but we have super effective charge moves, so we get to decide whether or not we want to go for the Brave Bird or the Ancient Power. Ancient Power isn't going to knock out. I'm going to go for the full-on Brave Bird once again to try to knock them out. They might try to call an Ancient Power bait, but they do end up shielding this move. That's actually a little bit bad for us at this point. I'm going to let my Moltres go, because I am so slow to getting to charge moves with this thing, so just let it go and try to sweep the endgame with either my Drapion or my Shadow Quagsire. It depends on what the backline is to see how much play we're going to have. I want to see Ariados compare with a lot of different things. It's kind of hard to know exactly what they might have. They're going to go for a charge move. Likely a lunge is going to be thrown, but even after a lunge, a Shadow Crunch should be enough to knock out this Ariados. But in comes their next Pokemon. It's going to be an Alolan Sandslash, so it's not Shadow. Honestly, the regular Alolan Sandslash has been a lot more common, I think, this season than the Shadow Alolan Sandslash, mainly because you survive Earthquakes and Quagsire a lot easier. But this is going to be a little bit more awkward for us as well, because it also survives our Mud Shots or Aqua Tails. I don't even think an Aqua Tail would knock them out from this range. I think I have to go for a Stone Edge if I want to knock this thing out anytime soon. I'm going to go for the Stone Edge, just like we were saying. I want to guarantee that this thing is out of the way so our Drapion doesn't have to deal with it. We have energy still left over on our Quagsire, so what is going to be in the back that we could have a bit of a chance against? I don't even know at this point. They do go back in with their Ariados. I'm going to throw the Aqua Tail here. It should knock them out at this point if they let it go, which they do, and in comes their final pick. It's actually a Diggersby, very interesting Pokemon, a bit of a troublesome matchup as well, because these quick attacks are doing a lot of fast move pressure. Sure, I can land one Aqua Tail here, but they still have a shield. They can probably quick attack us all the way down, and if they can reach 2 moves here with their Diggersby, I think they might have me. With that said, though, Drapion has a lot of energy of our own, right? We didn't throw anything against that Ariados. We didn't throw anything against the Alolan Sandslash. So we have almost 2 Aqua Tails loaded that we can throw back to back now. And as long as these 2 Aqua Tails are enough to knock out this Diggersby, which I'm pretty sure it will be, yeah, it's more than enough, we can win this game using our Poison-type Pokemon to knock out this Ground-type GGs to our opponent. Love to see Drapion just being such a flexible Pokemon, taking out matchups that might not be super favorable on the face of things. All right, next matchup, we have the Talonflame into the Galarian Moltres. The best thing about this matchup is we have Ancient Power. The worst thing, though, is they will start outpacing us the longer this matchup goes. So I think this time I'm going to go for the shield, try to get this Ancient Power to get the shield from our Talonflame, and then swap into our Drapion. The best thing also about getting that Ancient Power off is you get the fast move pressure from Sucker Punch, which an Aqua Tail from either a Quagsire or from our Drapion would not actually be enough to one-shot that Talonflame, but what would be enough to one-shot it is after a couple Sucker Punches there, you would be able to knock them out with that move. So having that fast move pressure against that Talonflame, I think, is going to be very helpful for us later on. They are going to throw a move here. It's likely a superpower from the Malamar, yeah. So we do shield that up because the first superpower obviously does the most damage. Overfarm as much as possible. If they shield this, I have another Aqua Tail ready to go. If they no shield, my Drapion is still fairly healthy. It's going to be able to probably get 1 or 2 more charge moves depending on what they come in with. And in comes that Talonflame that we saw earlier this match. They are almost at their next move, I think. They might be there in 1. They might be there right now. They might let their Talonflame go, I guess, and invest all into their final Pokemon here, the Morpeko. This is a very tricky Pokemon for our Moltres to see, but we have the Shadow Quagsire. We take the shield with the Aqua Tail, and now as long as this is not running Seed Bomb, we should be able to win this game. I've seen a couple Seed Bomb variants of the Morpeko. Is this going to be one of them? Thankfully not. No, that's just the psychic things. We CMP on the Aqua Tail, and now this should be enough to knock them out, or at least put them into fast move farm down range. I'm not quite sure. I know it's a very squishy Pokemon. Yeah, not quite enough to knock out just on the face of it, but we do get the fast move down. We take the win there against a little Morpeko, luckily avoiding that with our Moltres. All right, a very interesting matchup here, actually. Chestnut into Galarian Moltres. You might expect the Flying type to be a very strong answer to the Fighting and Grass type, but our fast moves are resisted. I need to land a full-on Brave Bird to do any damage, and look at that, a very spammy superpower already took away basically about like 66% of our health. That is not good news for our Flying type Pokemon. With that said, we have our Shadow Drapion still in the back. We have our Quagsire that gets to avoid that Chestnut right now. We should be in a pretty good position, actually, as long as we don't give that Chestnut a huge farm down with our Quagsire. We are going to throw this first Stone Edge here, and now I can probably get to another move, but we'll see what our opponent wants to do. It looks like they actually do let us get this attack off first. That's kind of strange, but are they going to shield this, or are they going to let it go? They do shield it, which is very helpful. If they would have let that move go, farmed us down with Chestnut, this would have been a very bad position to be in. But thankfully, they did end up shielding that. Now we can come in, get our own energy lead with our Drapion, and hopefully put ourselves in a very good position. With that said, Chestnut obviously is going to resist both water and dark type damage, so our energy here is not going to be quite as useful as I'd like it to be. And it looks like this Toxapex might get to a move at the last second. Well, they were going to, but for some reason they caught on their Chestnut. That's a very good catch. I wasn't really ever expecting them to swap there, but I guess here we are. They swapped. Very good play by them. With that said, once again, we get to throw the Crunch. I think I can shield and Poison Sting them all the way down, have a ton of energy for the backline, and if that Toxapex comes back in, I come in Moltres, I Sucker Punch down. If it's anything else, I guess we get to play it by ear, see what kind of Pokemon might be pairing with the Toxapex, with the Chestnut. What is it going to be here this game? I have a lot of energy on both of my Pokemon. I think we have a chance depending on what it is, but that is a terrible Pokemon to see right now. That is the Dugong, the something that we don't have any hard counters for on our whole team, but we do get the defense drop there, and I have energy on my Moltres. I know at this point I need to land an Ancient Power. I need to draw this shield, or since they know that I have a Brave Bird potentially, they no shield the Crunch, but now I can Sucker Punch them all the way down, so barely avoiding a catastrophic endgame there with a lot of energy management by our Drapion and our Moltres. Our next game, Shadow Dragonite into the Galarian Moltres. I'm pretty sure this matchup is just really good for Moltres. You shield once and you just fast move them all the way down. It's honestly really just kind of soothing to fast move down the Pokemon that always fast moves me down in the past. You know, this Pokemon used to be like the premier fast move pressure Pokemon. Shadow Dragonite, though, not able to fast move through this Pokemon. We have a Brave Bird loaded for this Azumarill, and we might even be able to get to a second, or maybe when we want to swap out, store this energy, and then come in Drapion, because after landing that Brave Bird, this is so much more manageable for our Drapion to deal with. Obviously, the Poison Sting damage doing a lot of pressure to this Azumarill. The Crunches won't do that much, but, I mean, after that Brave Bird, this is basically Crunch range, and we see that they come in with their final Pokemon here, the Ferrothorn. This Pokemon is going to be very bad for our Quagsire, but we bait it out with our Drapion, and I think at this range, we even survive a Crunch. It looked like, I think they might have actually shielded the first Crunch there, and that Crunch also debuffed their defense stat, which means now my Crunches are going to do even more damage to them. I think normally you want to no-shield the first Crunch just in case you get that debuff, but it looks like they will land the Thunder, but I have my energy on my Moltres. I'm going to come in with it, go for the Brave Bird, one-shot this Grass-type Pokemon, and I still have my Quagsire, I still have my Shadow Drapion alive. I think at this point, we're going to be able to win the game. GG's to them. And getting into the next game, we have Galarian Moltres lead. Oh, that's not good. Into an Alolan Sandslash. We're a little bit ABA weak to this Pokemon, and they end up, okay, so A-Slash and Gastrodon, that is not looking good for us right now. This is about as RPS as you can really get a game to be. We do land the crunch. If we can get a second crunch off, maybe there's a chance for us this game. We absolutely need this crunch here. An Aqua Tail would actually just give us less farm with Moltres, so either I go for the crunch and I get it, or I don't. I barely don't reach that crunch, unfortunately, and now I have to try to Sucker Punch this all the way down. As I've been saying, I have seen a couple of these running Water Pulse. I really hope this is just a Body Slam here, but it's going to be the Water Pulse. That's what I've been talking about. Does almost half of my health there. After the Fast Move Pressure, we are already below half health. Go for the Brave Bird here. Hopefully I can put this into a range where maybe I can have more play with our Quagsire, but I'm thinking it might just be the classic double Mud Slap team. There it is. It's going to be the Shadow Kanto Marowak. You might be expecting, oh, this is a good matchup, right? It's the ground type Pokemon into our water type. But the thing is, this Pokemon has so much Fast Move Pressure. It's so spammy, and it's also just like, I don't know, annoyingly bulky to the point where it survives an Aqua Tail from this range. It is not looking good for us. They can just no-shield this. Probably either force me to throw another move, get more shields from me. I don't think there's really any way I can win this. Look at that. They survived that move. I can't even fast move them down just yet. They do throw a Bone Club as well. I can't shield that. I mean, if I shield that, they're going to get a move with A-Slash. If I no-shield it, then they're just going to fast move me down. Yeah, not much we can do there. GG's to our opponent. Next matchup here, we have the Moltres. Oh, okay, well, that's not good. Into the Dunsparce. We're also ABA weak to Dunsparce here with this team. That is not fantastic, but fortunately for us, our opponent is staying in for a second. We can go for the Aqua Tail, get some chip damage off. Well, maybe put it into Crunch range, maybe put it into Ancient Power plus Sucker Punch range. It is going to soften up the Dunsparce a little bit, getting that damage off. They're throwing a move against us. It's going to be a Drill Run. Doesn't quite two-shot us, but in comes their own Galarian Moltres. That's not good. They are going to be able to fast move us all the way down. I'm going to try to bait with our Aqua Tail here. Stone Edge would do a lot of damage. They do end up shielding that first one, and maybe we can get to a second, but they do throw energy as well. Okay, so I mean, at this point, they have Galarian Moltres, they have Dunsparce. This isn't looking very promising for our own Galarian Moltres here, but we're going to try our best, overfarm as much as possible, because our energy on our Moltres could actually be very helpful. We know that we've tripped down that Dunsparce. We know that Shadow Drapion, once Dunsparce is gone, hopefully is going to have some play. So as long as we can get rid of this Moltres, there might still be a chance. We go for the CMP because I know my Moltres. I know it has the most attack out of like any Moltres anyone in the world has. I bet it's probably about as high attack as it even gets. But yeah, we win that CMP. We land the Brave Bird here, or at least we're throwing the Brave Bird against this Dunsparce. Do they shield it up? They do end up shielding it, and now I have to hope that I can land the Crunch, get the Poison Sting down before this Dunsparce is going to be able to get to 2 Drill Runs. Drill up this Drill Run here. It's not going to be able to do too much fast move pressure, despite Rollout being a good move. It's not type effective. It's just neutral damage, and it's from a non-stab Pokemon, so this Crunch will come through. And now, if we can farm down this Dunsparce, maybe, just maybe, there's a chance to win this game. Their final Pokemon is revealed. It's a Toxapex of all things. This is a fantastic Pokemon for our Shadow Drapion to see. We resist the poison jabs. We have a lot of fast move pressure. Well, not fast. We have a lot of fast charge move pressure, spamming out these crunches, getting so much damage just with charge moves. And I know that I survive a Brine, I survive a Sludge Wave. No matter what they're going to throw here, it's not going to be able to knock us out before we can get to another charge move. Our Moltres as well is still around. Maybe Moltres can fast move them down if my Drapion goes down, but we also just survived that move. Sludge Wave actually does do a little bit more raw damage, so it does make sense for them to throw that, but it is a little bit too little, too late for them. We are able to take the win there. All right, well, that's a terrible matchup. Our whole team is very much weak to this Shadow Machamp. Is there anything we can do? I don't even know. This is looking so bad for us because they just outpaced our Drapion, they outpaced our Quagsire. They resist everything our Moltres is doing aside from Brave Bird, which honestly is very hard to reach against such a spammy Pokemon that also has like Stone Edge, it has Rock Slide potentially. So I'm going to try to get shields down here if I can. They make a catch as well. This is not looking good for us. They have a lot of energy on that Machamp. They have a Dunsparce now as well, which is, I mean, not that threatening knowing I have a Quagsire, but if I have to use my Quagsire here rather than against that Machamp, I don't know where we're going to be able to find enough energy and enough, I don't know, advantage to win this game. It's going to be really tough here. I can try to catch, though, maybe catch a Drill Run. If I catch a Drill Run on our Moltres, then there could be a chance to store energy to get a fast move down here and leverage energy with both Moltres and Quagsire. That would have been a CMP, so they were forced to throw then, or else they might have risked not getting this move off. It is the Drill Run. We get to properly catch the Drill Run there. They will probably get to another Rock Slide here, unfortunately, at the last second. We do survive, though, and if I can reach any sort of move against that Machamp, I should be able to draw a shield with our Moltres. And comes their final Pokemon. Well, wait, that's not their Machamp, that's a Shadow Drapion. Okay, well, if they let this go, I one-shot them, basically. They do let them move through. That's crazy. They let us one-shot their Drapion. I have energy on my Shadow Quagsire. There's a chance here that I can go for these Aqua Tails, spam them out to be quick enough to knock out this Shadow Machamp. The only way we can lose this game at this point is a catch. We do know their switch clock is misaligned from ours. There is a good chance they can swap any moment now. I need to be watching for the catch to potentially happen and go for these Aqua Tails, being very careful to watch for fast moves. They are going to get another attack off here. I could have CMP'd this move, but I waited a turn because I didn't know if they were going to swap right then. So I'm going to keep on waiting, see if I see a catch happen. There it is. We watch for the catch. Dunsparce gets Mudshot down. We have the Aqua Tail loaded, and we can take out the Shadow Machamp, somehow overcoming it with this team. I don't even know how we pulled that one out. In the next game here, we're going to see that we have Galarian Moltres up against Dugong. All right, well, we've been talking about this the whole video. One of the worst Pokemon my whole team can see. Okay, well, that's Go Battle Day for you. Sometimes you see those opponents who they just kind of top left because they're trying to tank their elo a little bit. Good stuff. I've done it myself before. We'll take it. I don't think that Dugong was going to be too winnable for us, but sometimes you just have to hope that your opponent is a little bit too scared of our Galarian Moltres. All right, so we have another battle coming up here, though. We're going to see what our next opponent is going to bring in the Go Battle League. Galarian Moltres is going to face off against the Azumarill. Okay, well, that's not much better than the Dugong that we just saw. We're going to come in with our Shadow Drapion here, hopefully have some play into the backline. I don't know, though. This is a little bit of a tricky matchup because they might go for Play Rough, they might go for Ice Beam, and either way, our Drapion's going to take a lot of damage here, and I'm not going to have a lot of targets to throw my charge moves against unless they swap out. They actually come in Dunsparce here into a loaded Drapion. This is fantastic news because I don't really have a great way to deal with this with our Moltres, and honestly, our energy was going to go nowhere against that Azumarill, so getting the damage off here is almost just better for us. They're going to have to throw a charge move very soon, yeah, if they want to knock us out here. So I can farm this down with either my Moltres or with my Shadow Quagsire. Really depends on where I think energy is more important. And because I have the potential to debuff my defense stat and swap out, I want to come in Moltres, get the Brave Bird off against the Azumarill if that's what comes back in, and hopefully have a decent shot of winning this game depending on their backline matchup. In comes that Azumarill. It did throw energy against our Drapion, so they are basically dry when they come back in. So I get to overfarm here, have a little bit more energy on my Moltres, go for this Brave Bird, and they do let it go. That does a catastrophic amount of damage to Azumarill. It puts it basically into fast move farm down range at this point. And now we're going to try our best with Shadow Quagsire to finish out this game, go for these Mud Shots, and in comes their final Pokemon. That's a Morpeko. Kind of scary they bring it in here. Is there a chance of running Seed Bomb? If that is the case, we probably just lose this game, but they go for the Aura Wheel. It is a resisted move, but it nearly one-shots us there with how strong Morpeko is, but I knew my win condition is no shielding that first one because it's an electric-type move, right? And then I will save my shield for the second one, knowing that is very likely going to be the Dark-type move, or maybe at this point they might just go Psychic Fangs. Either way, I think I see my win condition. It is to commit solely to fast move pressure at this point. I could throw two Aqua Tails here, but I know that that Azumarill is still in the back. I know that my Moltres is going to have a lot of fast move pressure. I think I can just win this game tapping this Pokemon all the way down. In comes my Moltres. As long as they don't reach a move here, we should be able to win this game. We do fast move them all the way down. We fast move the Dunsparce all the way down. We also fast move down the entire Azumarill here as well. That's crazy. 3 counters to Galarian Moltres. Just getting completely fast moved down there. But yeah, that is going to give us up to 3108. After that 5-0 set, a very, very good way to end the Go Battle Day. There is another day coming up tomorrow, another 100 battles, so it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, well, thank you so much for watching today's video. I stream Pokemon Go PvP nearly every day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, so if you want to see this kind of content live, make sure to check me out there. Also, I'm going to upload a lot more to the channel, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see content like this more. Thank you again for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.